Howdy.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, boys.
Boys, it's a Tuesday night, so you know what that means. I mean, it's another good day for the TJD Sports Podcast. Got all three of us again today. I don't know where Jay. Well, I guess it's just the T and the D. I don't know where Jay's just going out of
We
the
got we got
frame.
half we got half a J right
Half
now.
a J right now.
Funny, you're funny.
And
Whoa, wait, that could be interpreted in many
yeah,
ways.
yeah, or Jacob. We got half a Jacob. And
Ooh,
Jeez,
we're back
guys. Okay.
for some football talk, and I think we're gonna just briefly, not get in depth with anything, but just talk for a slight second on a couple of other sports um, along the way, but it's mainly football. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. Shout out to my New York Knicks going out there getting stomped opening nights tonight. Me and Tyler will be talking about that in a couple days. And later on, at the very end, we're just going to give a quick World Series winner prediction from all three of us. But there were some instant classics in the football world this weekend. Some good games going on even last night. And, boys, as always, do y'all want to find out how the picks went?
Let's see
let's
it.
let's rock with it.
Yeah, so first, I'm just going to go over, you know, me and Tyler, 7 for 10. Hey, 700, you can't complain with that. You can't complain with that one bit.
Hey,
Jacob,
buddy, we're in the Hall of Fame. We're in the Hall of Fame with that.
Jacob, I think you went 3 for 10? Oh
Yeah,
wait, my bad. I'm sorry. That's 8 for 10. So,
yeah. Sorry, slight
you
work.
extend your lead slightly in this week. So, just to recap before we go over the picks that we had, Jacob, you're in first with 24 points. Tyler, you're in second with 22 points. And I am in last with a whopping, oh gosh, that's math, 20 points. So I went from first in week one to just, week two really killed me, boys. I gotta fight my way back now. But, alright. So again, we're not gonna go over all the, easy ones, but, yeah, so Jacob, you're the only one that picked Miami, number 6 Miami, to hold strong, stay undefeated. You picked the U, and Tyler, I want to throw it out there that we were close on
We
this
were we were very
one.
close.
That was a roller coaster for those who didn't watch it. It was a very, very good game and exciting all the way through. And then yeah, we'll see. I don't know what just happened right there.
Uh,
Okay, and then yeah, so all of us got Clemson. Pretty straightforward. We kind of knew what was going to happen, even though it started off a little shaky for him. I picked Nebraska, and boy, was I ever wrong. I mean, that was about as horrible as that could have gone. I mean, Indiana just went in there and they put a flag down and said, "Hey, we are a real football team." And yeah, we are going to talk about that one a little bit, so we'll dive into that later. Army, we all picked them. Continue
yeah,
dominate. Obviously, we're going to talk about our beloved Vols and what they did. But all of us picked them. Me and Tyler, we got Illinois right. Jacob was the fool
Illinois, that's
in that
crazy.
game.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
Illinois, not Illinois.
Illinois. And let's see. All of us got LSU. That was also another straightforward one. I was the sole person that, and I think I quoted it directly. I was like, Georgia's going to welcome Texas to the SEC and let them know that you can't just come in here and dominate and run the show because we about that life. Okay, so Georgia, I picked that game right, so you boys failed. And
Then he turned around and gave it right back to us.
Yeah.
and then I blindly had faith in Kentucky, and I hate you, Kentucky. And then me and Jacob, we picked UNLV to upset Oregon State, and we got that correct. So, boys, I guess without further ado, we had a massive game that our boys in Orange played in.
I mean, good old Rocky Top, man.
Oh man, did y'all see where everybody's saying that Tennessee feeds noise into their PA system instead of it just being the actual crowd?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
My
totally.
uncle,
I,
my uncle was there, and he said he was like I couldn't even hear the sound system. That's how loud Neyland was the entire game.
So
yeah,
it was 126 decimals.
yeah, and it's
That is
really
very true.
sad for AJ McCarron, someone that played there multiple times, knows exactly how crazy that place gets. And I get that he played there when Tennessee wasn't, you know, it
Good.
was their down years, but Neyland's still wild nonetheless. I mean, it may have got quiet in the second half for the games that he was a part of, but he actually may have been the quarterback. This is completely off topic, but AJ McCarron may have actually been the quarterback the year that we were gonna win on a game-winning field goal, but they blocked it.
Sounds about right.
I think that was either right before him or it
That
was during his
was,
time.
I think it was Lane Kiffin's year, his last year there.
Yeah, I know AJ McCarron was around that time, so I'm just gonna take a guess, and it was AJ McCarron. So he's definitely been in a close game. But yeah. Anyways, um, yeah. I mean, boys, what'd you see, Jacob?
I think we're seeing a completely different Tennessee team than what we were expecting. I know, given Heupel's history of having a very explosive offense and just throwing for 700 yards a game, I think we're seeing something completely different. And I'm starting to believe Heupel's all about just getting the win, not so much how many points are we going to put up. So my question is the ground and pound physical game style for Tennessee, is that their new identity for this season?
Yeah. Well, you just mentioned, and I was gonna bring this up at the end, but this is the perfect time to throw it in there. You just mentioned Heupel's just a guy that, it doesn't matter how you get it done. We're just gonna go win the football game. And this is something that I found very interesting. It's a fun fact. During his time coaching at Tennessee, Josh Heupel is 21-4 at Neyland Stadium. 3 of those 4 losses came in his first year as the head coach. So he has only lost 1 time in the last 3 years at home, or the past 2 years. Is it? Yeah, the past 2 years. Rain's going crazy. This is year 3, right? This is
Yes.
year 3 of
Yeah.
him. Yeah, so the past 2 years, he's only lost 1 game at home, and that was to Georgia, um, which, speaks for itself. So he does not lose at home. So, but yeah, um, couldn't agree more. Everyone, I think, as fans, we just saw what happened the first few weeks, saw all the points that was going up, and have expected that every single week. But we got to remember, we got a freshman quarterback out there that's going to have his growing pains. And when was the last time we had a freshman quarterback that beat Florida and Alabama in the
It's been
same
a
year in his
while.
first year? I mean,
I think it might have been T. Martin.
yeah. I mean, that's just you, no complaints. I mean, if you could have told me at the beginning of the year that we won those 2 games, but lost Arkansas, I would definitely take those 2 wins, then lose one of them and beat Arkansas. I would trade that 100% of the time. But it didn't start off very great, did it, Jacob?
No, I mean, Nico's missed wide open guys still. I think he's still struggling with down the field passes. I sent you something on over text, and you could see that the offense is there. They're just missing those deep ball miscues, and I think that's really what the issue. But I want to give Nico and Josh Heupel a mega shout out. I mean, props to Heupel for still trusting in Nico, allowing him to continue to throw the ball down the field, even though he was still missing, allowing him to do what he needs to do to help the team win.
Yeah.
And I mean, it showed in that second half. There was not a single turnover in the second half. He made plays down the field that he needed to make. He was able to scramble more, which was a huge factor in the second half. And so I think those two combined was probably the big difference maker in that second half.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Tyler, you're not good at NCAA 25, so you know just how easy it is when you're not throwing the ball good to just keep running, spamming the run. You know, when the ball, when the passing game, when you're throwing picks, everything, it's easy to just keep calling conservative run plays. But Josh Heupel's not doing that. He's letting them air it out continuously. Yeah, Jacob, you hit it right on the head there. They they're not shying away from it. They know the talent's there, and they know that they had the ability to. So we're not gonna just pull a Tyler or just keep running the ball because we know that the passing game isn't working. We're gonna keep doing what we know will work. And then, like you said, in the second half, they found it and it started working. So maybe we can all learn something from that and just keep airing it out. So, but I want to say this is kind of funny too, that I think I think Bama might have hit the talent back into Nico in the second half. He took that hard hit and then just out of nowhere came back and started just
He got
playing
folded.
amazing.
He got folded like a pretzel.
Yeah, I mean, it's-
Man, scorpioned out there.
yeah, I mean, just looked like a completely different person again out there when he.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I definitely thought that the reason why he had gotten hurt was definitely because if you watch the end of that tackle, he completely slammed his face into the turf.
Yeah.
So I thought at first I was like, no way, it's a concussion. Like, but I also feel like he had to. Sorry.
Just oh gosh. I think he took the
hit. He definitely. Dang it! I just spaced. But if you notice that when he got hit, he only sat out one play because our backup decided. I'm gonna get off the field as quick as possible.
I love it. I've been seeing some funny tweets about that actually, and just funny interactions. I mean, he went full Leroy Jenkins out there. Just comes into the game, like probably made like 5 throws on the sidelines. He's like, okay, first snap, I'm in here. I'm gonna roll out to my right, and I'm just gonna launch that thing. I don't care who comes down with it. I'm launching it, and I honestly respect the hell out of it because he just really showed his confidence for, not to use other terms, but
or it was one of those plays like, oh, they're coming at me, don't hit me.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, that showed his confidence. I hope that throw and the result of that play didn't kill his confidence because, I mean, if Nico goes down again, we need someone that will have confidence. That was just hilarious. Looking at the time, I was sitting there like my confidence was shot. I was like, oh gosh, we're gonna get beat by 30. Look at now, like after the game's over and we know we won. Looking back, that was the funniest play that man could have done. He was like, I'm gonna find my way in the stat sheet one way or the other. Bam, I'm throwing it. And it was hilarious. Not funny in the moment. I was really angry already, and then that happened.
Yeah, I think we were all mad at that moment.
But how much confidence we see what Nico did in the second half, and we've seen glimpses, and then obviously at the beginning of the year we just saw a complete display of it. But how much confidence does that second half give Nico for the rest of the way? Like, now on the biggest stage that he's played in this season, come out and perform like that in the second half, knowing you've been struggling, and then to do that, I think it's just going to give that kid. He won the locker room. If he had to win it back, he 100% did. Had to have right there. I don't think he had any issues with the locker room, but that's just got to be something else. Like, he's your guy, but like, oh, okay, yeah, it's official now that he's our guy. I'd do anything for that man. I feel like that's something that happened in that second half. And yeah, I mean, they have a bye week this week, so they get to breathe a second. They're like, okay, that happened. Let's enjoy it for this week and then lock back in because they have another.
I'm gonna say, game. last time they had a bye week, they came off a big win in Oklahoma. Because in the moment Oklahoma was ranked,
Yeah.
They had a bye week. They came out and they started playing really slow, and look what happened. We lost to Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm nervous, but I think Nico's got his confidence back.
Yeah.
And same thing with if Nico. Back to your point, Dylan. If Nico goes down, I'm just gonna say this: run the Wildcat with Dylan Sampson the rest of the time. Do not let any other player be quarterback. If he has to throw the ball, let him throw it. Because I mean, what's going to happen? He's going to throw a pick. It already
How,
happened.
how about his first career fumble, Dylan Sampson? He, I didn't know that. That was
Yeah.
the first time, and then he answers and does what he does the rest of the game.
So it's funny you mention if Nico goes down. I was watching some of the post game stuff for that game. Dante Thornton, a transfer from Oregon, we all know that, and then Brazel that came in from Tulane. They were like, Samson is they in like terms that they used. He's the dog. He's like when Samson is in, it makes me want to play better.
Yeah.
He's like it makes me want to run through a brick wall and play better. It doesn't matter if I'm got 5 drops on the day. He's like I want to play better for that day.
Yeah.
And so I feel like as a leader, that's what you want to have that kind of impact on your teammates, especially after you just lost to Arkansas and you're going into your two biggest rivals of the season right there.
Isn't
So
isn't Sampson a junior?
he's a senior, I think.
He's a senior. I thought he
I
was
think
a
so.
junior. I thought he was a junior.
Well,
Well, if he's a junior, even better.
I think
Right,
I
right,
think
if
he's
he
gonna
keeps
get
doing it.
drafted either
Yeah,
way.
if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's definitely going to get
I
drafted.
mean,
but
he leads the SEC in touchdowns with 17. At the end of they don't even play this week. He's gonna comfortably be holding on to that top spot. Cause second is well, actually it's Jalen Milrow, and he has 11. So unless Jalen Milrow rushes for 6 touchdowns, Dylan Sampson's gonna be sitting pretty comfortably at the top of that after this week, which is crazy to think about. This will be their second bye week, and he also leads in yards. Just he should be a Heisman candidate. I mean,
Speaking of Milrow, how about the defense, man? Getting after Milrow.
yeah.
I mean, how about the defense, man? Getting after him.
Dylan, you want to hit him with it? You want to hit him with it?
Oh,
He's sacked again.
Dylan, that thing about fell off.
Yeah. I mean, boys, he didn't get sacked enough for my likings. But were they on him the whole game? I mean, the pressure was there. The Neyland itself was causing, delay of games, false starts, all kinds of other stuff. Um, the run defense was unstoppable. Jacob, I mean, this is the best. Jermod McCoy is the best DB that Tennessee has had in.
since Cam Sutton.
Yeah, and he's only a sophomore. Like we get him back next year, so he has the potential. I mean, he's gonna be a first round corner for sure. I think as long as he stays healthy and just doesn't completely fall off the cliff, um, he's a first round corner. And I would go as far to say when his career's over, like he's gonna be the best defensive back that Tennessee has had since Eric Berry. Taking it
Yep.
all the way back to Eric Berry, because that kid's just so good, and that interception, perfect timing for it. But a one-handed play, and then I thought he returned it to the house. I thought he was going to take it all the way back for a pick six, but we'll take what he did. We didn't capitalize on it, but either way, it stopped them from scoring. So yeah, defense. I mean, does James Pierce just keep getting hotter
I
and
mean,
hotter as the season goes on?
and I think this is the perfect time to get going. I mean, you're in the meat of the SEC season. You just had your two biggest rivals. You got another rival coming up, Kentucky, in 2 weeks, and then you're almost, you got one more opponent before Georgia. So I think this is just right about the right time where you get going.
Yeah, and I was scared that the defense would kind of miss a beat with Peely going out for the year with the torn ACL. They didn't even look like they lost one of their captains, and it looked like it didn't even matter to them. They were like, okay, well, next man up, we're just gonna go and do this. And then Will Brooks,
I mean, what
what
a
a
guy.
game! What a
Alabama
guy.
native seals the game for the. Oof.
I mean,
Isn't he a walk on too? Like
He was
still
a
like
walk on.
Yeah, and dude, and he's the one. I don't know how fast y'all's heart was beating and like almost dropped your your jaw
Oh, hey, yo.
Oh, yo, man,
when
dropping his drawers over there. Huh?
when Jalen Milrow went for that freaking QB sneak and almost took it all the way for a touchdown. Will Brooks is who made that tackle.
Yeah.
He was the one that made the
Thank
shoestring
God for the
tackle.
shoes.
Yeah, I mean,
Holy cow!
he almost dropped my jaw, not my drawers. That's let's get that straightened out. There was no drawers getting dropped, just jaws. But yeah. So I mean, I would. What does this do for their playoff chances? I mean, it's set you up in a situation. Obviously, you have to keep winning, take care of business. You would like to win out, but winning that Alabama game before this Alabama game, we were saying like if you have one more loss this year, it has to be either Alabama or Georgia, but you have to win one of those. Well, now you already got this one out of the way, so it takes a little less pressure off that Georgia game. Whereas if you lose to Alabama, now you have to beat Georgia, which that's a whole different beast at this point in time. But if you run the table except for Georgia and just don't get blown out, you have to like their chances to sneak into that playoffs.
Well,
Yeah.
their Tennessee right now is currently the ninth best odds in the country at -150 to make the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, yeah, you look at their resume. You play 15th ranked Oklahoma at Oklahoma. You beat them pretty convincingly. You just beat Alabama at home. And then you play whoever else is in the SEC that's very competitive at this rate. And so I think Tennessee takes care of business. They finish the season 10-2.
Yeah. Well,
That's a pretty respectable record right there for a college football playoff.
yeah. Well, and at the time, I mean, they completely dismantled number 24 um, North Carolina State
Yep.
on a neutral site. So
Yep.
that's another resume builder. And then yeah, I mean, like you
but
said, the rest of the SEC
that can
schedule.
also hurt them too because NC State is no longer ranked, Oklahoma is no longer ranked. So this was like the true test to see if they could be a playoff team.
Yeah. Well, I think as long as they don't go out there and just get creamed by Georgia, um,
You know, the crazy part is they didn't even play their best game yet. That's the craziest part, and they still beat Alabama.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Imagine if the boys come out here and play their best game against Georgia and go down in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get my hopes up yet. We still got 2 more games before
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah,
No, I'm just saying,
yeah.
spitting that
So,
out there.
Tyler, I want to point to you on this one though. There was something that we've been talking about that when your quarterback's struggling, he's overthrowing some guys. Some of them are just out of reach. What's something that we've been looking for and that we finally got this week against Alabama?
Effort. Holy cow, the effort was there, especially with Brazel with that diving catch for the touchdown. I mean, in that moment, dude, like you have to go get it. Like there's just no question about it. And I'm not joking. I almost fell through the floor. That's how high I jumped. Like I about I about went a tumbling, boys. And I lost my voice and everything. I was screaming at the TV. I was so excited.
Yeah, I mean, just plays like that, just that itself goes a long way in building your quarterback's confidence. And at a crucial moment, too, like that was the go ahead, that was the game winning touchdown essentially. Like we didn't lose the lead the rest of the way after that. And yeah, you just when your quarterback's struggling, obviously there's some of those throws that are just way out of reach. There's no point. But like with the ones that are right there, you gotta just go give it your best shot. Just lay out for them. Even if you don't catch it, just give it. You know,
Yeah,
you're in the
especially
SEC, playing in the SEC. You're gonna have to make some tough plays every now and then. Go help your quarterback out, and they finally did that in the second half. It was cool to
especially
see.
especially on those deep balls when you know you have the corner beat and like there's nobody else in front of you. why not? And if it's overthrown, why not just lay out and see if you can catch the ball, just
Yeah.
to see? And that's what we saw, and
Yep.
it paid off.
Yeah. Yep.
It
So
was
yeah, I mean, there's not really much you could say else about that game. That was just a great
hey,
second half.
hey, if you got them, smoke them, boys.
Yep.
Oh, I got mine from 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, had to go outside and hit one for me.
So yeah, Georgia, Texas, man. I mean, that was the talk of the day. All hype around it, and Texas just flat out fell on their face.
I'm,
Did
I'm
Like,
just
y'all see where the fans got it was like a $250,000 fine for throwing all their trash at them?
did you see that
did you
play that what happened?
To be honest with you, no. I just know that there was
So
trash everywhere.
Carson Beck threw a ball down the sideline on Texas sideline. The receiver literally ran straight into the DB. DB was looking at Beck the entire time. Didn't even worry about the receiver. Literally threw it straight to him. Took it all the way back to the 7. And the referees threw a pass interference on the defense. So all the fans were losing it, threw their cans on in the field and everything, caused the game to go into delay. Referees came together and changed the flag, picked the flag up after they already called the pass interference penalty, and gave the ball to Texas at the 7 yard line.
and Kirby Smart, rightfully so, was not happy at
Yeah.
all during the moment and after the game. He's made it known that his displeasure with the officials in that one. But I saw a hilarious picture of. Well, here let's just start from the top. I mean, welcome to the SEC, Texas. You just got smoked by Georgia. Got a taste of what that looks like, as everyone else in the SEC has seen before, except for you, Oklahoma. But I'm sure that'll come looking at how your season's going.
Yeah,
And
they are not playing good right now.
yeah, so which they don't play this year, but in the future, Oklahoma's gonna get theirs. But Georgia's defense was on them from the jump. That O line looked lost. They had no answer, and um, Quinn Ewers, he probably has had nightmares the whole week about that hit that he took. And there was a funny picture. Uh, Arch and Quinn were both sitting on the sideline, like looking like they were about to cry. Like they just were miserable over on the sideline, just getting crushed. And it was, yeah, I don't know. I was expecting a better game than what we got. The scoreboard, 30-15, doesn't look as bad as what the game actually was. Um, and yeah, I don't
It
know. And
was
especially
just
when that
bad.
penalty happened, that helped the score a little bit too. So it's yeah. I mean, I don't know. That welcome to the SEC, Texas. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, if you go back and look at it, Texas played Mississippi State, and I don't remember who their first SEC opponent was, but yes, Texas looked good against Michigan. I think that was probably their true test, quote quote. But I think Georgia was the actual team that showed them who they really were.
Yeah,
I think they exposed a lot of things that Texas probably needs to clean up. And so I don't know. I think Georgia definitely it looks like the stronger team. I think the Alabama game was a fluke, in my opinion. After watching that performance against Texas,
yeah, and it's gotta
That
make
looked like
yeah,
that looked like the Georgia of old. Like they're gonna come at you and they're gonna hit you with everything they got. And JP, back to your point, uh, Texas. Their first SEC game was Mississippi State, and then Oklahoma, and then
yeah.
Georgia. So like they kind of had like
So really, only one true SEC team then besides Georgia.
yeah.
yeah, and I mean, the crazy thing is they did that with Carson Beck honestly playing horrible. I mean, and that's just yeah. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, 3 interceptions in the game. Tyler, what? I mean, you have the full turnover numbers, but I just
There was 7 total turnovers in that game. Texas had 1 pick and 3 fumbles, and Georgia had 3 picks. I am not impressed with Carson Beck. I have not been all year. He just like you look at what Georgia's quarterbacks have been in the past, and it's just not him.
well, coming into the year, he was supposed to. I mean, he was supposed to be a possible first round quarterback, and I think he's just completely fumbled his draft stock this season. Uh, but Georgia, that's another thing. I mean, that just goes to show Georgia's defense is capable of overcoming that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jacob, you look like you're about to say something.
I mean, I think he's pressing a little bit, in my opinion. Everybody was talking about giving Carson Beck the hype, like he's going to come in, be Georgia's savior. They're going to win. They're going to win another national championship. Like they were giving him all these different labels to start the season. I think he's just putting all that pressure on him, and he's forcing him to do those miscues and all these mistakes that he didn't see last year. Because I think he had, I think 7 turnovers through the entire season last year, and he's already got 7 turnovers through the first 5 or 6 games this season.
Yeah.
So I think he's adding a lot of unwanted pressure this season to where he didn't have that last year.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's
Well, last year he also had Brock Bowers, so like that's like a huge target, right? And
Well, I mean,
oh,
yeah, but you still
like
have a lot of other weapons.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that they don't have any other weapons. I'm just saying like that was their like you walk in your opposing team, who you gonna go for? Like
But
I mean,
wasn't he hurt for a majority of the season last year, anyways? Like at the beginning,
I think he got hurt in the middle of the year, but he
like he
was
had an ankle injury or something.
yeah. I
oh well.
think he got hurt against Vandy actually.
Hey,
But
the
yeah,
Vandy
I
boys.
don't know. We'll have to keep our eye on that because you're not gonna. I mean, well, I don't know. Texas was number one team in the country, so I was about to say that you're not gonna beat the best of the best throwing 3 interceptions, but they just did it. So I don't know. We'll see. Keep our eyes on that one.
There is no longer an undefeated SEC team, boys.
That is true. That's the floor is open for the SEC
That is
championship. We'll
that
have
is
to see.
just that is overall record. That's not. I think Texas A&M still undefeated in conference, and so is LSU. So
Right. Yeah. So but
Now to
yeah,
transition out of the SEC, how
yeah,
about the Big Ten? Indiana, Nebraska.
yeah. Indiana just showed not only are they a threat to possibly compete for a Big Ten championship, they showed the whole country that they are here as a real threat to make the college football playoff. And there's nothing that I mean, looking at their schedule, I mean they've Ohio State. That's it. I mean that's the only possible loss that I see. But at this point in time, I don't see how. I mean, that's very. That's gonna be a good game. I'm gonna have my eyes on that game, and I think it's coming up really, really soon. So
Yeah,
um,
I mean,
they
enough
just look
said.
dominant.
There's, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna add on to you on that one. I mean, the offense looks amazing. I mean, they drop another 56 points on a very good Nebraska team,
Yeah,
and the defense was going crazy, holding them to 7 points. I mean,
yeah,
that team looks quiet and dangerous, in my
and
opinion, for
that's
the Big
not a
Ten.
bad Nebraska offense either. That
No,
they've got talent. So yeah, Indiana's they're for real. So now I think it comes down to like I, I think the best case scenario for Indiana is one, you either beat Ohio State, or two, if you lose to Ohio State, you kind of just hope that it's Ohio State and Oregon in that thing, so you don't have to even possibly take a second loss. Like which is a good
yeah,
spot to be in, because if you beat Ohio State, you're not going to fall out of the playoffs if you lose to Oregon in the conference championship, and then if you lose to Ohio State, that's your only loss on the year. We assume it would be their only loss on the year.
Yep.
and you're also in good shape because you're 11-1 with your only loss being to a top 5 Ohio State team. So they're in a really good spot as long as they don't fold under pressure against some of their lower competition. So Indiana, that's I they weren't in my original playoff prediction. They are 100% in it now. They are going to be in the playoffs. I'm just going to say that now. But yeah,
Tyler,
Well,
what are your thoughts on it?
it's just fun to watch them. Like they're just going to come out here and they don't care who they're playing. They're just going to absolutely stomp you, and it was fun to watch.
Tyler, how many games did we win? No, I'm joking.
What?
Tyler, weren't you going to go travel to? Or no, you were going to send me to Indiana. That's what.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were
See,
going
and
to send
then
me there.
but I couldn't. We couldn't get the flight booked for you, so that's
Yeah,
all it was.
yeah,
That's what it
because
was.
y'all were going to all the crazy games, and then you were going to send me to this blowout when there was a Georgia and Texas game going on. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
but
now.
Georgia and Texas wasn't. Which one would you have rather gone to? I mean,
56-7, 35-10,
I mean,
or, or 35 or 30-15. I'm not even. All right. Well, either way, yeah, dominant.
Yeah, I mean, now transition to the ACC. I mean, a dang shootout. Another one for Miami. I mean, does the defense exist?
no, no.
I yeah, they and it's another game that they just barely squeak out. Eventually, that's going to catch up to you. You can't just keep. We saw it with our volunteers in 2000 and I think it was 2016. You just eventually it catches up to you. You can't just continue to escape narrowly against every single game you're in because they they're doing it against Louisville's a good football team, but the Cal game, the Virginia Tech game. I mean, those Miami is supposed to dominate, and they're just not doing that. Eventually, they're going to come up against somebody that's they're just going to it's going to be hard for them to continue to do what they're doing. I'm actually curious now that I just said that of what the rest of their schedule looks like because they're just they're 7-0, but they're the most stressed out 7-0 team. And looking at their schedule, they don't really have any tough games left. So Duke
No.
is 6-1, so that's going to be a questionable one. And then Syracuse at 5-1, but Georgia Tech maybe can make it interesting with them. But that's the ACC is not they're not the best conference, and I think Miami's taking a little bit of advantage of that. I think Miami's going to make the playoffs, but I think they're gonna get embarrassed in the first game they play. I think their offense will keep them in it because Cam Ward is amazing. But if they come up against one of the better defenses, it all depends on who they get matched up with. I think they're gonna have a very tough time in the playoffs because they're just not playing um, the same kind of competition as other top teams, and they're not dominating them the way that they should be.
I watched that game from snap one to the final snap before the Tennessee game, and I watched them like whenever they played Florida. The defensive side, they don't look like they have any urgency,
Yeah.
in my opinion. They're just gonna go out there. We're just gonna be all right. We're gonna see who can score the most points. It reminds me honestly of the 2022 Vols. I mean, they have Hendon Hooker. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna score 70 on you, but we're also gonna give up 60 to you. It's like you're not gonna win many ball games that way. And so I'm honestly shocked that they're even able to be 7-0 right now, in my opinion. The way they've been playing defensively after, especially starting the season where they looked very good against Florida.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think where would this Miami team be if you didn't bring in transfer quarterback Cam Ward this year? I mean, he could another amazing game. I mean, he threw for 319 with 4 touchdowns, and that brings him. I don't know if y'all have looked at it, but he now has 2,500 passing yards with 24 passing touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Um, the best Heisman candidate for quarterback. Obviously, Ashton Genty's doing his thing at the running back position over at Boise State. We talked about Dylan Sampson should be a candidate. As far as quarterbacks goes, it's Cam Ward, and then there's no one else um, relatively close. And he's he's making himself a lot of money. He's going to be one of the top picks in the draft coming up, and I'm going to start doing some more research in depth on Mr. Cam Ward because we'll talk about that in a little bit. So on why I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to save that for a little bit later.
Put that in the back pocket for a second.
Yeah, but I'm going to be doing some research on Mr. Camathan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just personally shocked on Miami's production on defensively and not so much offensively, but more production on defense. I mean, they have guys that have played professional football all up and down their coaching staff and was successful in the NFL. And so I'm just very shocked on how poorly they're playing on that defensive side of the football.
Yeah.
With having those guys having that mindset and bringing their skills to it. So I don't know what their issue is, but hopefully they can figure it out and see what happens.
Yeah. No, I agree. It'll be interesting to see.
So the new rankings came out. A lot of teams went up, a lot of teams went down. What are your thoughts here on this?
Um, I'm just gonna confidently say this. I don't know if confident's the right word. We see them drop 8 spots. I think for the very first time in a long time, we could see an unranked Alabama team at the end of this year. Because looking at their schedule, they still have LSU, they still have Texas A&M. They play Missouri this week. I don't see that. I think they'll win that one. But they have a good amount of ranked matchups, is I guess my point with this. And Milroe has not looked great the past few weeks. They're going to need him to be good. Their defense isn't the best. Um, they have an explosive offense with Ryan Williams, but I don't know. I can see realistically, I can see 2 more losses on Alabama's schedule, and I think that's going to knock them out of the top 25. And I mean, when was the last time we've seen that? It's just,
If
I
that
think it was
happens,
before Nick Saban.
yeah.
if that happens, why do I feel like Nick Saban's going to come out of retirement and be like, no, that's not happening? Yeah, no.
No, that's not happening. That statement right there.
I was just saying, hypothetically speaking,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't want it to happen, but
That's one thing, and then another thing that hasn't happened in a long time. Vanderbilt's ranked in the top 25, and unfortunately for them, it could be very short-lived. Um,
but who
hoping for the
knows?
best. Yeah, you never know.
Who knows?
Texas is either going to come back and play very angry, or they're going to be having heavy heads on their shoulders and get punched in the mouth by Diego Pavia. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, so who again? We're gonna do the same thing this week. Who are you still high on? Who did you lose hopes in?
I had to sneeze real quick.
You good?
All right, Tyler, you going first?
You got it. I'm looking.
Okay. So I'm just gonna keep going until the wheels fall off. I mean, I feel like I've got to continue to be high on BYU. They move up another 2 spots to number 11. Um, I'm gonna pair that. I'm still shocked. Army is only number 23. They didn't even move. I don't know how they don't jump a few spots. Um, those are my 2 that I'm high on still continuously. Team that I'm low on. I mean, I guess I just kind of said it a second ago. I think Alabama's going to end up getting unranked, so I'm just going to stick with that for right now. That's my team that and it's easy to say because we just beat them, but seriously, I think LSU and Texas A&M both beat Alabama this season.
I think the
Yeah.
team I'm high on right now, and like we said, is Indiana. I think that they're gonna. I think they're gonna continue to jump, because they got Washington this weekend, and I think they'll be. I think they'll jump to 10. I want to say, if obviously I think BYU will still jump a little bit on that too. So, but the team that I'm down on, I would probably say Miami. But they're like we said, their strength of schedule is just like that has to be taken into account. Like they're playing like it's like an easy schedule for them. It's almost like a walk in the park compared to everybody else that's in the rankings, and it's just I don't know. I wouldn't give them the sixth spot for that, but
I'd say the team that I'm high on is Texas A&M. They start the season off. They lose to Notre Dame at home. I mean, that's a tough place to win. So I mean, I'm gonna give Notre Dame props on that one. But they bounced back. They've won 6 straight. And in my opinion, I mean, they've beaten some good teams. They go into Gainesville, beat Florida to start the SEC play. And so I like A&M on this one. I think they're starting to figure out who they are. They murder Missouri. And
Yeah.
so I think they're starting to get their wheels turning a little bit. And I think they're going to be actually a good threat towards the end of the season whenever they get Alabama and everybody else in the end. And then I think a team that I'm not high on is Vanderbilt. I mean, it's Vandy. I know we picked them to win last week against Kentucky, but I think they're kind of losing steam a little bit. They only won by 10 against Ball State when they're a 4 touchdown favorite. I think people were a little overstretched on Vanderbilt there. I think they're giving a little too much action and hype. So I think I'm losing. I think Vandy loses this week to Texas as a little insider, but I don't know. I'm not really sold on Vanderbilt just yet. I think they get pushed back out of the rankings.
I'm gonna say this, JP. You picked the number 25 team to be you're not high on. That's
I mean, it was it was
kind
it
of
was a
like it's
toss
kind
up
of like
between.
hey, here's your answer.
Well, I mean, it was a toss up between Vanderbilt and Missouri. I mean, Missouri hasn't looked good all season. I mean, their true good game they played was against Murray State, and that's an FCS school. So I mean,
Your alma mater.
my alma mater right there. That's their true big win there. Other than that, they've looked terrible all season.
I will say against Ball State, Vandy was moving the ball really well. They just were unable to punch it into the end zone, which you should be doing against that competition. So I don't disagree there. But yeah, hopefully we'll see if the dream season continues for the Commodores. I don't think they can. Anything could happen the rest of the year, and they're going to be smiling ear to ear. If you would have told any Vandy fan that at this point in the season they're 5-2 with the win over #1 Alabama, you they would they would have bought every single lottery ticket. Their season's already a success, and deserve. I don't blame them at all, and they should be happy. And
Yeah.
they just got to find a way, claw their way for one more win to get eligible, but hopefully 2 more wins to where they secure a pretty decent bowl. Just go ahead and lock that in before the wheels fall off possibly this weekend against
Speaking of bowl eligible, before we transition to NFL, did you see what Missouri's coach was wearing in his press conference?
I did not.
It said bowl. It was a shirt that said bowl eligible 2024 after they beat Auburn.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Old
congratulations,
Drinkwitz.
dude. Like,
He's the biggest goofball in the SEC.
yeah. I mean, congrats, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you came into the year the #9 team in the country, and you're wearing a shirt being proud of being bowl eligible. You had expectations of making the playoffs, and now you're happy that you made a bowl. Just, yeah, come on. No,
Congratulations.
I know I did not see that. That just made me
Go
mad.
Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Well, boys.
Oh man. Ready to transition into some NFL boys?
NFL.
Let's get it.
What was this, JP? You just getting
Get
nice and
get
loosey goosey?
get my back loose, man.
Quickly
Yeah. I
go
mean, I look
into
like I got
the.
concrete shoulders right now.
Let's quickly dive into the picks and when I say quickly, I mean quickly because I don't want to talk about them too much because
Why, Dylan? You
I
did
went one
so
for
good
five.
this week. You did
I went
so
one for
good.
five. Just terrible, terrible execution on my part. Don't want to. We're just gonna skip past it. But I mean, I don't know why you're talking. You went 2 for 5, so I mean,
Hey, buddy, that's why I was saying it. We did so
you,
good this week, Dylan.
yeah. I mean, hey,
If you put the correct games that we got combined, we still did not match JP.
yeah, Jacob, you went 4 for 5, and
We're
yeah, you're right.
thriving.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, for me, it was horrible. I mean, Jacob, you're the only one that picked the Packers over the Texans. Um,
Cheeseheads.
Jacob, me and
I,
you picked the Lions. Tyler's big on the Vikings.
not anymore.
And well, they looked. I mean,
They
you know,
didn't
It
play
they
was a
bad.
good game.
it
They
was a
didn't
good
play
game.
bad. It
Yeah,
came once again. It came. Didn't it come down to a field
A
goal?
little game-winning
Yeah.
field goal.
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about them anymore after this right here. We don't have them on our thing, but I want to make this. I saw this. There's um, a rumor that was just brought out today that the Vikings and the Rams are in trade discussions for the Vikings to possibly get Matthew Stafford. And I just want to make it known, how disrespectful is that to Sam Darnold for what he's done for that team and what he's done this year, for them to even be discussing a possible trade for another quarterback. I mean, this man has come in unexpectedly and led you to a 5-1 record. Um, that's just disrespectful. Um, I don't know if y'all didn't see that.
I I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Matthew Stafford. What is he doing in LA right now?
well. To be fair,
Oh,
Matthew Stafford has been missing Cooper Cup and Puka this year. Their season's going
it
pretty
doesn't.
bad because of it, but Stafford's obviously very talented. But I don't even think it matters of what Stafford is. Like you don't replace the guy that's led your
That's just a
team to
slap in the
5-1.
face, honestly.
Yeah,
You have a quarterback who's out here playing, pardon my language, but he's playing his ass off, and he's doing really really good, and then you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Matthew Stafford for what reason? Like, I don't agree. I don't understand that at all.
yeah. Well,
Obviously, it's a rumor, but whatever.
yeah, and I mean it's they scored 29 points against the Lions. They lost 31-29. Um, and Sam Darnold, I mean, he threw one touchdown, one pick, but 259 yards. He only had 5 incompletions in the game. He's doing his job, and I mean, a late field goal, game-winning field goal is what beat them. So I mean, it's not like Sam Darnold blew up and had like a horrible game that gave them their first loss. So I don't really know what they're doing, but yeah, that's just a rumor that I saw today, and it was an official NFL accounts. Dov Cleveland, I think, is his name. Let me see. Actually, I forgot what his name is. I feel like I just butchered that. It's a hard name. No, it is Dov Cleveland. Yeah, I'll send that to y'all here in a second. But yeah, so that happened. Anyways, me and Tyler. This is the only game that, or no, I'm sorry. My thing was flipped the wrong way. Tyler, you and Jacob were the only two that picked the Chiefs over the 49ers. I was led
I think it's
astray
safe to
again.
say the Chiefs own the 49ers now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We all thought that the Jets would beat the Steelers wrong again. I thought that the Bucks were gonna play good and beat the Ravens. Uh, Foreshadow for you, I was wrong again. Um, I couldn't have been more wrong this week, and it's just tough to see greatness just fall the way that it has. And yeah, but anyways, there's some things happened around the league. This one just another thing that was crazy. Fans in Cleveland were cheering heavily when Deshaun Watson went down with his ruptured Achilles, and that was just wild to me. I
I
mean,
mean,
everyone has their
that's just
opinions on the
terrible.
guy, but that's
I just everybody has a past, and like, yes, was he completely wrong in what he did? 100%. But you do not cheer for somebody that just got hurt and are excited that he just got hurt. That and
yeah,
that's just like a that's just disrespectful as hell, honestly. Like,
yeah, and
and Jameis Winston and Miles Garrett both. Miles Garrett said, "I have a past. I'm not going to go throw stones at my glass house." But you just don't do that. Like,
yeah, it's yeah,
I mean, there's really no words that can describe that. That's just terrible as a fan base. I mean, it just goes to show that they don't care, in my
yeah,
opinion. Like, if as a player's perspective, it just goes to show that they don't care if you get hurt. They want you to win, and that's it. They don't care if you're hurt. They don't care if your career's over. If you're not doing what you need to do to help them win, they don't care.
yeah,
And so I think they see you more as just a player than that as a person.
yeah. Yeah, that's just really tough. I just wanted to touch on that for a second because I thought that that was pretty wild. But Jake, um, you're not the best one win team
Yes.
in the NFL anymore. I wouldn't say you're the best 2 win team now, but hey,
Not
they
gonna
picked up a
lie.
big win.
Yeah, we got back in the win call. It was funny. I had just got done talking to Jared about the other day, and Tyler was with us, and I had to count them out in this game. I thought Drake May was gonna cook our DBs.
hey, by
Well,
the way,
hey,
shout out to Jared. Jared's watching live right now.
hey, well, hey, I want to say Drake May did cook. Okay, that Drake May looked really good in that game, especially in the second half. He was. You weren't entirely wrong. It was just a little late, but Drake May. There was one drive he had like 90 passing yards in a scoring drive and threw a dot on a few of the plays. I mean, I said it. The Texans were gonna poor Drake. He was gonna get crushed by the Texans, but um, he showed a lot of potential against the Jaguars and Patriots. They're not a good team, so they're it doesn't matter really how good or bad Drake May looks this year. They're not going to win a whole lot. Um, but he's their guy for the next few years. He's going to have a few years to show exactly what he can do, and he put on a very good glimpse. Is all I'm going to say. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, Jacob, what would you notice from the game?
I mean, I wasn't able to get to watch it because I was driving to work, but from the statistical aspect of it, it looked like the Jags played better offensively. They took care of the football. They didn't turn the ball over. I mean, Tank Bigsby had another massive day, 818 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you can't really ask for, especially with ETN still down for whatever reason. But Lawrence looked like he managed the game from a statistical side.
Yeah,
And so I think that was what the big key difference was in this one.
and one thing I watched a good amount of this game. It's it's clear what happens in the pass game specifically when you give your first round receiver. I will keep dying on this hill. If you keep giving your first round receiver first round reps and targets, good things happen. Brian Thomas had another massive day. He leads all rookies in receiving yards. He has 4 receiving touchdowns already this year. Um, every time that they feed him the ball, good things happen. I mean, we saw it happen against the Colts. It happened against the Patriots. They won both of those. Brian Thomas is their biggest playmaker, and he should be the focal point of that offense in the passing game. But yeah, defense is still questionable for the Jaguars. I think that's their biggest issue right now.
They
But
just can't get off the field. They can't find a turnover to save their life. And I know, and especially at the rate the offense is turning the ball over, you need to create turnovers.
Jacob, you'd be more mad. I know you didn't get to watch much. There was one ball that it was thrown right in the DB's hands, and he dropped it. I mean, it hit him in the
I shot.
chest, and it's one of those like I mean it wasn't like he was standing up and everything, but like he went to make a play on it, and it
Mm-hmm.
went straight through his arms and hit him in the chest and hit the ground. And
Yes.
like he was on his knees to get it. Like it wasn't like he was just standing like just waiting on it, but it it should have been for a team that is desperately needing help defensively. I mean, you got to make those plays. So, but
Oh
hey,
man.
they got the win. That's all you can really ask for. So,
Baby steps.
yeah, and that leads me to my next point. A team that just is physically incapable of getting a freaking win unless the opposing team's quarterback is on their QB3 because one just got their fifth concussion in the past 24 months, and then the other guy comes in and gets hurt in the first half. I mean, that's what it takes for this football team to win. They're just terrible. They play good in the first half, and then they completely disappear in the second half. Every single every single game, it just same thing, different results. Or yeah, you get the point. I don't understand. I'm convinced I'm gonna start watching every Miami and Colorado game that's not on at the same time as Tennessee game, so I can just get my own scouting of Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders. Because at this point in time, I'm really hoping that they take one of them. Because we don't have a good quarterback on the roster. I think this team would be a pretty good team if they had a right tackle that could just put a hand on anybody, and then a quarterback that could just do something right. But that's not what we have. Our right tackle, Nicholas Petit Frere, continues to prove why he's the worst right tackle in all of football. He allowed 8 pressures this week. Um, 8. I said that right. We have had a bye week already, boys, and he missed a game because we benched him. He still is second in the entire NFL in pressures allowed, and it's week 7. He's only played in 5 games, and there's teams that haven't like had a bye week yet. So second most allowed, and he's had a bye week and got benched for a game, and that's insane to me. Um, our players are getting separation. We just either A, can't get them the ball because we're getting hit in the backfield. B, can't throw an accurate ball. Or C, we just can't catch the ball. And that's a recipe for not a lot of good things is happening. Um, there was a lot of controversy in Mason Rudolph versus Will Levis. Mason Rudolph didn't make the team any better. So at this point, Levis has to start when he's out there because at least he's young and has some intangibles that other guys can't. So you just gotta hope he figures it out. If he doesn't, they'll lose anyways, and then, like I said, they'll be drafting either Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. And for me, it's mock draft season, boys. I mean, I think that this team is a 4-win team max, and that's if things go right. They're about to get crushed by the Detroit Lions this week. Um, this is just
Let me
I,
let me
I'm
add.
you
Let me
ask, and then
add.
I'm done after answering your question because
So it's not necessarily a question. Well, it can be. It depends on the way you look at it. So why is especially late in the game on third down possession? Did you see that DeAndre Hopkins just was not in the game? Like he was standing over there on the sidelines, helmet unbuckled, like was just like how they usually like the players that are going to sub in will follow the play as it's going. No, D Hop was literally standing down at the sideline next to a coach. I can't remember which one it was, but he was just standing there and was just like you could just tell he was fed up. But I also heard that there is trade talks for D Hop right now too.
yeah, I mean, well, he's been battling some injuries, and we're getting blown out So they could have just not wanted to put him out there when he already is struggling in random time that doesn't matter. So that could be something. Um, at this point, I don't think you would get anything in return worth losing D Hop for, because I mean, Devonte Adams and Amari Cooper went for third round picks. I don't think you'd get that from D Hop. So like at that point, it's not worth getting rid of D Hop to only get like a fifth round pick or something like that's. At that point, just keep D Hop.
I will say the team that is in talks for him is the Kansas City Chiefs, is what I heard or what I saw.
Yeah,
Of
well,
course.
Because I mean, if you look at them, like they don't have any weapons right now either. Juju just went down too.
yeah. So we'll
So
see. I don't know. I think any anybody on an expiring deal definitely should be shopped around at this point because this team's not a good football team. They're not going to win a whole lot of games, so you might as well try and get what you can. I love D Hop and hope he stays, but it just depends on what Rand Carthon wants to do. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about the Titans, or else I'm gonna get myself all worked up again. Not gonna do
well, you guys are playing it. The Titans are playing him next week. You think the Lions are Super Bowl contenders this year after they are just playing amazing? I mean, they're so fun to watch. Like it's just it, it's just fun.
that. I think they're the best team in the NFC. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to back up on Dylan. I mean, I said it whenever we were doing our pick last week. Whenever they had the Cowboys, I mean, they're just having fun. I mean, you see it. They're everywhere. They're doing whatever they want. They're playing loose. Goff's having the best season of his career, in my opinion, I think. And then you got David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs just going crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going crazy. I mean, they're just hitting on every single cylinder they have possible in Detroit. And I don't know. They're. I think it's easily saying that they can make a Super Bowl pretty easily.
yeah, they're the best team in the NFC by a long shot, and it's not even close. It sucks. They lost their heart of their defense, but they're uh, they're gonna be fine. They've got too much talent offensively. There has been some possible trade talks, Tyler, that
There
we've been
is,
seeing.
there is. It's speculation right now, so I don't know how true it is, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Okay, so Max Crosby for the Raiders, he said that he doesn't want to leave. He loves Las Vegas. He wants to be there, right? He also said he wants to win now and not be in a rebuild. So could he possibly go to the Detroit Lions? Which then, if think about it, if he goes to the Lions and then you get Hutchinson back, I mean, obviously that's going to be a while away because of what happened. But could you imagine both of them on the defense like that? That just makes them like I'd be terrified. like
Yeah,
like just having both of them just barreling at you. No, I'm okay. I'll stick in the stands.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, it just depends on what the Lions would be willing to give up to make that happen. But Max Crosby is one of those players like if you have a if an opportunity presents itself to get a premier pass rusher, if you feel like that's all you need, then you kind of got to pull the trigger because this is their year, in my opinion, to make that kind of a push. So it'll be interesting to see, especially as the trade deadline gets closer. See if they go for it.
I will say Max Crosby is also from Michigan. Let that be known as well. So
It's possible. He obviously doesn't have a say in who he gets traded to, but
it'd be
maybe.
it'd be fun to watch because then if he goes to Detroit, GG. Like they're already playing amazing. Add him on top of that on the defensive side. That's just gonna.
I know it's different sides of the ball, but with how this season is going, it feels like when the 49ers were already playing really good, dominant football, and they traded for Christian McCaffrey just to boost their offense. This seems like obviously two different positions, two different sides of the ball, but that seems like a move that if the Lions make it, that would be equivalent to that. You're already dominating. You're favored by most people to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Then you go out and add one of the best pass rushers in the league. That I feel like that's what that move would seem like. You're already the best, but you can always get better, and
Yeah.
that's what that move would do. So
And on top of that, like that whole division right now, like if they added him, it I feel like it would kind of just seal it that they see themselves making that push to represent the NFC because the NFC North right now is 19-6, and that's like they're in the best division in football, and I feel like the Lions are just they're good enough to make it right where they are right now. But like you said, like it's like adding that CMC to you're just boosting it even more, and it's
well, and take the record completely out of it. I mean that division is full of young quarterbacks
mhm.
outside of Goff, and that's just adding a dominant pass rusher that's going to be in the face of those young quarterbacks. So which pressure goes a long way in getting in the head of young quarterbacks. So I don't know. I think it would be a good fit. It just depends on if the Lions are willing to give up what the Raiders are going to be asking, because premier pass rusher like that is worth a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah. So back to the Jags and the Titans real quick, because let's just be real. Like one of either the Jags, the Titans, or the Patriots are going to be fighting for that first overall pick. No, my bad. The Panthers too. But
And the Browns.
Who wants to go to Carolina, right? And so, but Travis Hunter, right? Obviously, he's going to be a top overall pick. Do you think that he's going to play both sides of the ball, or do you think he's going to have to choose one and stick with it?
I don't think he chooses anything. I think the team's going to tell him what what they're going to do with him. But I think you'll still see him play both sides of the ball. I don't think it'll be at the same amount that we're seeing right now at the college level. I think they're going to dial it back on both sides. But I think he's just way too talented at both positions to not like. But there's not a whole lot of teams that couldn't use receiver and corner help. Like even if you have the best receiver room, you could always use some depth in there. So like maybe he plays more corner, but just comes in like to give somebody a breather after like a long drive or something. Or if you have a really good cornerback room, play him mainly at receiver, but somebody gets hurt, he's available and you have him there. I mean, I think he'll play both, but it just won't be
It won't. I
90% of the
agree with
game
you.
like what he's doing at Colorado.
I agree. I think he's going to. They're going to make him. They're going to make him on one of those positions, but they're going to have him listed as oh he if let's say they have two top corners, and he'll be number three, or vice versa, and be on lower on the depth chart for a receiver, but still be in that to where he can. Okay, JP's just reclining, I guess. And I think he'll play both sides of the ball in my opinion. I just think like you said, he's not gonna play 100% defense and 100% on offense on every game. Dylan, your MVP favorite buddy lost
Hey,
two of his best receivers on that team. Or Godwin, I mean, he's done for the year.
I wanted to
So
be
I think,
known. I, I
and
think he was an MVP candidate. I think Lamar is going to win the MVP. But Baker, I just wanted him to at least be in consideration. But yes, tragic day
a
yesterday.
tragic day in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, it's this. It feels like I don't know. I don't. I was about to compare it to Derrick Rose, but it's completely different. It's not your young star receiver, but like it's one of those situations you're getting creamed. There's no reason for you to be putting
They
your
were
receivers in that
Yeah, they were down by 10 with like a minute and some change left in the game. Like, why? Like,
I don't know.
and it's just Mike Evans. He was nursing that hamstring anyways, and that one the way he fell. Like, I get that. Like that early in the game, trying to make a play. The Godwin one, it makes you like feel bad for him because like obviously he wants to be out there to keep playing in those moments, but you know
Yeah.
there
So
does come a point in time where like, hey, he Mike Evans just went out and we don't know when he's going to come back. So like Chris Godwin is our number one receiver now. We have to kind of like manage it to where okay, we're going to take him out for right now. Like we're not gonna come back. And if it's a 3 point game, I would understand, but it wasn't. It was you had to get an onside kick, score a touchdown, get another onside kick, and drive down the field again. Like,
yeah. No, I agree. And then another team that's kind of in a similar situation, 49ers. They lose Brandon Ayuk. He tore his ACL. Debo's going through
and
pneumonia.
MCL. IU
Yeah.
tore
Okay.
ACL and MCL.
Yeah. Well, you get the point. Yeah. And their healthiest receiver is a guy that just got shot in the freaking chest 2 months ago, so that's never good. So we'll see what that goes for the 49ers, and CMC still out. And yeah,
Devontae had a rough first game with the Jets. Did y'all watch that game? I'm assuming
Yeah.
I was really busy
he uh
this weekend, so
he
I
had
didn't.
9 targets, had 3 receptions for 30 yards. I think that was the lowest that he's had with Aaron Rodgers since like 2017.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was their first game back. They'll get through it. It'll be fine. Yeah. Jets are they're struggling as a whole right now, so I wouldn't put too much
Yeah,
stress
it's
into it.
just the drop passes, man. Like Garrett Wilson, there was a pass, it literally hit him in the face. It's just like, I mean, you gotta catch that ball. JP, I see that you said that Devontae only had 2 drops for the first 4 games, one with each team.
Yes, I mean, it may seem like Devontae's struggling. I think it's more of his quarterback play, in my opinion. I mean, he's doing what he's paid to do. I mean, 2 drops. He's probably had over 30, 40 targets, probably has over 15, 20 catches. I mean, 2 drops is, in my opinion, really good. I mean, you look back at some of the other teams. I mean, the Browns have 17 drops just as a team, and Amari Cooper has 10 of that 17. So, I mean, I feel like 2 drops isn't really that big of a struggle for him. Personally, I think it's more of just Aaron Rodgers is not hitting him, in my opinion.
Well, Aaron
So I think,
Rodgers isn't as mobile as what he used to be either. Like
well, I mean,
he,
yeah, but
I
he's
mean, he is
missing
a
the easy
pocket.
throws.
Yeah, he's a pocket passer, but I mean, you look at it, and Devontae also was what traded like 3 4 days ago before that game. So obviously he is still trying to learn all the ins and outs. But who knows? I'm not gonna chalk that up as Devontae's fault at all. Like it was just a rough game. Um, Russell Wilson, do you guys think he's the quarterback for the Steelers now, or do you think that they're gonna give him a couple games and
No,
see what happens? And especially since I think they're about to start their division play soon. So
I still think Justin Fields is their guy. Defense won the game for him that against the Jets. I don't think Russell did much.
Yeah, I mean, I
you
don't
know,
think Russell looked bad, but it's still just a bad look to switch off of your quarterback that's led you to a 4-2 situation. Same kind of thing that the Vikings we have talked about earlier. You got a guy that kind of probably won the locker room over, and then just take the keys away from him like that. It's just, I don't think it's a good look. But I Steelers look better than what I thought they would be, regardless. So I think they'll be fine either way.
yeah, and we'll see. Well, I saw something today that that Russ might play for a little while for a couple of games, and then they'll go back to Justin and then see what happens. And but who knows? The Ravens, though. The Ravens are. Do you think Lamar's going to win MVP this year?
Yeah, I just said it a few minutes ago. I think he's the clear favorite. I mean, we'll just have to see. I mean, he keeps doing this where he's really good in the regular season, and then just we got to see it in the playoffs too. So maybe this is the year that he does it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what were you saying, JP?
I was just gonna add on to it. I mean, I feel like the Ravens are definitely a better team this year. I'm gonna use that old Call of Duty term for whenever you played zombies. Derrick Henry gave him that pack a punch role. I feel like. I mean, you have Lamar. He's able to throw the ball. He's more accurate throwing. He's able to run. They're giving the ball to Derrick Henry. I mean, I think he was that perfect combination right there between the two of them. So I think they're getting that upgrade right there, and you're starting to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're rolling for sure because, you know, the King, Derrick Henry, just keeps proving that he's still the king.
Yeah.
And he's just going to keep dominating. I feel like, and he's there's just nothing much. It's just like Dylan Sampson. It's just Derrick Henry. Like that's all you got to say.
Yeah. And I want it to be known he wouldn't be doing this on the Titans because the Titans O-line is garbage. So I've been seeing a lot of Titans fans saying, "Wow, we let him go for this." Titans O-line is miserable, so this wouldn't be half. The Ravens have done a good job building a good O-line to help Derrick Henry, and that Derrick Henry finally has an O-line that can show his talent.
Yeah.
Titans, he was getting hit in the backfield right when he got the ball, so he wasn't able. I think he was still at this level the last 2 years. He just wasn't able to show it because we were just that bad
Yeah.
offensively at the O-line. So I don't know. Yeah,
I
he's still King Henry.
I agree. I agree 100%. Real quick, Dylan, you mentioned it earlier. We're gonna dabble into a little bit of baseball. I know we're getting ready to sign off for the night, but your Yankees, do you think they'll do it?
It depends on what they do with Otani. But I'm not gonna say that I think they're gonna lose because obviously hope they win. So I'm gonna pick the Yankees to win the World Series.
JP, what do you think? Dodgers or Yankees?
I think the Yankees are going to win this one just because they're not so much relying on the long ball as much. I mean, obviously that's helping them in the previous games in Cleveland, but they're doing what I said they needed to do to win. They are getting runners on base, they're taking their walks, they're not getting themselves out. And so I think that was what the big reason they won against Cleveland was getting runners on base and scoring them. So I would like to see the Yankees win this over the Dodgers.
See, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. I want to see Otani get a World Series ring, and it's with the season he's had. We can JP. We'll talk. We will definitely talk about this more in the next day or two whenever we decide that we're gonna do our next show. But I would like to see the Dodgers win it, and it'll be. I think it's gonna be a fun series for sure. But you guys got any final thoughts for the night?
Sir.
No.
All right. Well, make sure you guys drop us a like, a subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
I'll do both of these.
Good job, boys.
Yeah.